In Game 2 of a back-to-back between the Firebirds and the Red Sox here at Red Wilson Field on a Monday afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Dylan Pescatore, Ian Nicholas will bring in our third member of the crew, Sammy Miller, in just a little bit. Ian, an 8-2 loss for the Firebirds where the pitching just flat out wasn't good enough and the defense kind of followed. How can the Firebirds get back to their fundamental game today in YD?
Well, first of all, they need to get better starting pitching from what they had yesterday. Sam Łoboki was in a tough spot, started for the second time in 4 days, gave up 4 earned in 4 innings. Ivan Romero making his third start of the summer today. He's been very good for Orleans ever since his shaky first appearance out of a bullpen, inserted in a tough spot at Katuitt when Dylan Jacobs suffered a freak injury. In his 2 starts, he's been really good, and he knows this YD team well. Pitched for them last summer, helped end Orleans' season in the playoffs. So he returns to Red Wilson Field for the first time. Should be exciting to see what he does. The bullpen also needs to be a little bit better today, too. I think there were a few too many free passes handed out by the bullpen yesterday. 4 free passes, 8 hits total in 5 innings against the bullpen. It's a reconfigured bullpen for Kelly Nicholson, a lot of moving parts as we head to the final quarter of a regular season. Everybody on the pitching staff needs to be a bit sharper because if his team wants to make a deep run, the pitching is going to bring them there. They still have the second lowest ERA in the league.
The pitching has been there. Let's move over to the position players and the lineup. The lineup has done everything except get that big hit, has left 8+ runners, 8 or more, runners on base in the last 4 games where the Firebirds have gone 1-3. Just looking for that big hit. Are there any mentality changes that these players need to make, or what needs to change to get that big hit?
Well, obviously you'd always like to keep strikeout numbers low, especially in big spots. 10 strikeouts yesterday against YD. And 2 each from 2 guys at the top of the order who very rarely strike out in Joe Oyama and Justin Rubin. So when those 2 guys are striking out a lot and the rest of your lineup is kind of following what they're doing, that's not ideal. So I think that was kind of a fluke game. This is a Firebirds team that's limited striking out so far this year. We're towards the bottom third of the league in terms of total strikeouts. So not only striking out in general, but especially striking out when you've got runners in scoring position. They stranded the bases loaded now in each of the last few games. That simply can't happen. You have to walk away with a little bit of something. And when you have the opportunity to clog the base paths early in the game, walking away with not just a run, but 2 or 3, that is going to be the key, Dylan, today against a YD team that has a really good starter tonight, and Jason Doctorzik, and has Hunter Hines back in the lineup. Those guys are going to be absolutely phenomenal.
This is a YD team that really got off to a hot start earlier in the season. Now they're trying to piece it together as we get to the final 2-week stretch of the regular season. YD 3.5 games up on the Firebirds. And when we look at this lineup, big day yesterday for Brandon Stallman. He's been a bit of a revelation for this lineup over the past week.
He has. He's only played 6 games with the Firebirds, but he's got multiple hits in half of them. And Stallman's not going to do anything too flashy from the plate, but he came into this summer really hot. He made the Conference USA All-Tournament team, helping Charlotte win their conference for the first time ever. And then he also was really good in their NCAA regional play. So as of late, Brandon Stallman has been very good, both at the collegiate level here and summer ball as well. Not going to necessarily hit it out of a ballpark. Maybe could tonight in the ballpark where it's only 350 in center, but he's just been super steady in the middle of his order, and you got to like what you've seen from Brandon Stallman.
Stallman, the lefty out of UNC Charlotte. The Firebirds have dropped 3 of their last 4, but they're trying to get back off the ground today against Yarmouth-Dennis and the first seed in the East, Red Sox. We go to our sideline reporter, Sammy Miller, for more on how the Firebirds can get back to their groove.
Great for the players to get some much needed rest and recovery, especially for the pitchers in order to get the bullpen back at full strength. But at the same time, for position players, it could take them out of their groove. After last night's loss, assistant coach Max Fesky said that with the off day yesterday, it typically takes them a little bit to get going. He went on to say how YD put the pressure early on in the game, and because they were unable to respond back immediately, it was tougher to fight back and dig themselves out of the hole as the innings went on. The key is to set the tone early so that hole never has to be created, and instead you can be the one sitting in the driver's seat dictating the pace of the game. But now this Firebirds team is more than fired up for this rematch today against the #1 team in the East, and also knows how important a win like this could do for them, not only in the standings, but also for their momentum in the last stretch of games before the playoffs roll around. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. The Firebirds have played 34 games this year, 17 wins, 17 losses, and no ties. Ian, they got to get back to above 500 today, and YD poses a big challenge. You have their big three, R.J. Austin, Hunter Hines, and Braden Montgomery. But another guy who had a big game yesterday was not part of that big three, Xander Darby, with 4 hits.
Xander Darby was excellent, and he has been excellent as of late for YD, arguably the best player in this order. And to say that with a team that has Hunter Hines on it is pretty remarkable. I mean, look what he's done over the last 6 games, going 9 of 20, 3 doubles, a home run like he hit yesterday, which drove in 2 runs and got the scoring party started for YD. He's driven in 6 runs total over the last week, and he's limiting the strikeouts with more walks than Ks in the last week as well. He's hitting the ball for average and for power. It's an ID lineup that overall has been solid on the year. It's kind of been better when Hunter Hines is leading the pack, and when he's cooled off a little bit, the lineup has kind of regressed. But if Xander Darby can prove that there is more than just one big power bat in this lineup, this YD team is going to stay at the top of the East Division, and they're going to continue to be the perennial contender that they usually are this time of year.
YD 20-14-1 under head coach Scott Pickler. The Firebirds and the Red Sox geared up to start at 4:30 today after the All-Star break. The darkness starts to creep in a little bit earlier, and YD moves their home games to 4:30. A few other teams around the league, including Katuitt and Brewster, also start their games a little bit earlier. Just do it as we get later into the season. Now, a new name for the Firebirds who came in to last night's 8-2 loss was Nate Scott out of Fordham. Started his career at Ithaca in D3, now at D1 at Fordham playing for the Rams, and Ian Nicholas caught up with him just before the game.
Joined alongside Nate Scott here on the Scorching Start, a pitcher from Fordham now making his debut here on the Cape. Nate, the debut came in a bit of a tough loss yesterday, but you pitched for 6 in the 7th. How did it feel overall?
It was definitely great to get out there, get rid of the jitters, definitely going in there in a really cool environment, try to throw strikes, and after walking the first guy and then getting the second guy out, I felt more comfortable.
So you've been a Northeast guy your entire life, grew up in New Jersey, you played your college ball at both Ithaca and Fordham. Did you hear anything about the Cape? What were your expectations headed in?
Yeah, so definitely a big jump from D3 to D1 the past year, kind of figuring stuff out, and had really high expectations for the Cape, and they definitely exceeded it with the talent, environment, everything like that. So it's really cool being here.
What do you think was the biggest difference jumping from Ithaca, where you were all Liberty League, and making that transition to Fordham? What do you think was the biggest difference transitioning from D3 to D1?
I'd say there's a big difference, but it's still bottom of the zone, 3 pitches for strikes, still plays at any level, in my opinion. Just the mistakes are hit a lot harder, and you just got to be low in the zone and still plays.
You're on the Scorching Start with Nate Scott from Fordham. You know, for a Firebirds fan who maybe didn't see you pitch yesterday, what should we expect from you out on the mound?
Yeah, so getting the jitters out, expect a lot of strikes, expect a lot of off-speed, and get going after guys.
So you're from New Jersey originally. You and I were kind of joking before you got here. You think you're from Central Jersey, correct?
Yes, sir.
What would you say to people who think Central Jersey doesn't exist?
I'd say they're wrong.
Why?
I think there's three sections of the state, and I side in Central Jersey.
So do you like New York State, though, playing in Ithaca and now playing a little closer to home at Fordham?
Yeah, definitely like being closer to home so my parents can catch more games, and being close to the city is awesome. How
does it feel to represent a school like Fordham, which is a bit smaller compared to guys out here who may go to bigger programs? How does it feel that you from Fordham are here out in the Cape Cod League?
It's really cool playing against guys at bigger schools and trying to show what I could do and hang with these guys.
And then this is a pitching staff that's had a lot of success this summer. I know you just joined the team, but what do you think about the guys that are with this crew and pitching alongside you?
You guys are awesome, really welcoming guys, and everybody's been super nice and welcoming, and it's really great to be here along really good talent.
Really good talent, and Nate Scott, one of the really good talents that just joined the team from Fordham, joining us here on the Scorching Start. Nate, thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Back on the Birds Broadcast Network, we're about 5 minutes away from first pitch between the Firebirds and the Red Sox here at Red Wilson Field at Dennis Yarmouth High School. But the Firebirds are not playing Dennis Yarmouth. They're playing the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox. Dylan Pescatore and Ian Nicholas here on the Birds Broadcast Network. That was Nate Scott, new pitcher for the Firebirds out of the bullpen. And before we get you all set up with starting pitchers for both teams along with lineups, we're going to take a break as the national anthem is about to take place here in Yarmouth. Anthem done. First pitch coming up between the Red Sox and the Firebirds. So let's get you started. Ian, who's in the lineup for the Firebirds today?
In the lineup for the Firebirds, it starts with the second baseman and the all-star Joe Oyama from UC Irvine. Batting second from Pepperdine, the designated hitter Justin Rubin. Batting third, another all-star. And starting at shortstop for the second night in a row, Jack Penny from Notre Dame. Batting fourth, the first baseman and one more all-star, Matt Hallback from UC San Diego. Eddie Micheletti bats fifth and plays in left field. Brandon Stallman plays at third and is batting sixth. Owen Carpellotti is doing the catching, batting seventh. And batting eighth, Eddie King Jr. from Louisville in center field. Rounding out the order for Kelly Nicholson is Jake Casey, the right fielder from Kent State.
And those 9 will face Jason Doctorzik out of University of Nevada, Reno, the right-handed pitcher with 42 on his back. Has an interesting story. Started his college career at Sonoma State, a JUCO level, and then moved up to D1 at UNR. Just finished his sophomore season. 75 innings pitched, 6.43 ERA with 71 strikeouts. It's his 7th appearance for YD and his first start for the Red Sox this summer.
Yeah, expect 2 really good pitches from Doctorzik. He's got a fastball which clocks in around 92 to 94 miles an hour, and then also has a slider with really good sweeping motion that's going to clock in around 78 to 80 miles an hour. He has been a starter not for this YD team, but at the collegiate level. Can 2 pitches be enough to get him through today? A good fastball and a secondary offering with a lot of movement. That's certainly what YD hopes. A team that has the best pitching staff in the league knows what good pitching looks like.
Doctorzik has showed it as well. His 7th appearance for the Red Sox this year. 3.85 ERA and 0-1 record. 18 2/3 innings pitched. 17 strikeouts, 10 walks, and 19 hits allowed. He'll face Joe Oyama. He leads off for the Firebirds once again. A windy day here in Yarmouth, blowing out towards the outfield, so maybe a few fly balls will carry out of here.
Well, a lot of fly balls carry out of here. It's a small ballpark. It's a boombox, and the wind carrying towards the outfield, like you said, could make it an absolute home run derby, or should I say a home run hitting contest.
That's right. We're ready to go. Doctorzik pitching from the windup, the right-handed pitcher out of Nevada, Reno, against Joe Oyama. First pitch at 4:31 as Oyama swings through the fastball.
Oyama, a quiet day yesterday in the loss to YD. 0 for 4, but he did walk to extend his on-base streak to 9 games in a row.
YD wears their white uniforms, white pants, red socks with red lettering and red hats. The 0-1 is pop foul. 0-2 to Oyama out of UC Irvine. Came in hitting .369 and an even number between walks and strikeouts, both at 20. Doctorzik taking his time in the windup. The 0-2 swing and a miss. A 3-pitch strikeout for Doctorzik to start off his night.
That is not something you see often for Joe Oyama. Not only striking out, like you said, 20 strikeouts, 20 walks headed into that bat on the season, but going down on 3 pitches, that shows you just how good this stuff is from the Doc early on in this game.
That is what he's known by, the Doc. We try to go with Doctorzik. It's not that bad of a name. It's spelled a little bit iffy, and we'll get into that. Justin Rubin is the second batter for the Firebirds. Doctorzik's first pitch to the righty Rubin is fouled back. Rubin has really solidified himself in the second role in the batting order for the Firebirds, having hits in 4 of his last 5 starts. The 0-1 from Doctorzik is lined right field side and foul. Quickly 0-2.
Rubin has provided so much consistency to the top of this order, just like Oyama and Penny in front and behind him. He's reached in all 13 games with Orleans.
5 pitches from Doctorzik, and all of them being strikes. He slowly kicks his leg. The 0-2, swing and a miss. 6 pitches for Doctorzik and 2 strikeouts. A great start for him in the first.
Absolute dominance from Doctorzik. You would think he'd been starting all summer long for YD. His 7th appearance, but his first as a starter. This is remarkable.
First 2 batters up, first 2 batters down by way of the K. Jack Penny is the batter. He hits third for these Firebirds. Doctorzik's first delivery is a swing and a miss. The numbers weren't pretty at Nevada this season for Doctorzik, but he was part of a Nevada team that broke the single-season record for strikeouts for a pitching staff for the organization. The 0-1 to Penny is a fastball once again and called. A strike, 0-2, 8 pitches, all strikes. Doctorzik's 1 pitch away from an immaculate inning. He gets his sign from the catcher, Garza. Kicks his leg slowly. The 0-2 swing and a miss. 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts, an immaculate inning for Doctorzik here in the top of the first. We stay scoreless as we go to the bottom of the first here in YD. Back here in the bottom of the first in Yarmouth, Ivan Romero will look to match what Jason Doctorzik did in the top of the first. 9 pitches, all strikes, and 3 strikeouts. An immaculate inning for the right-handed pitcher out of Nevada, Reno. Romero is the starter for the Firebirds today. Played for Yarmouth-Dennis last summer, and now is a Firebird. It's his 4th appearance, his 3rd start for Orleans. He's pitched to a 4.66 ERA, but he's been very reliable out of the rotation, out of the bullpen, either way for the Firebirds. You know what you're basically going to get from Romero between 4 to 5 innings and 3 runs or less every single time out.
In his last 2 starts, both in Orleans' wins at Harwich and at Bourne, Romero has been great. 8 innings pitched, 4 innings pitched in each of them, only 2 earned runs given up, 5 hits, low strikeout numbers, just 3 walks, but gets a lot of weak contact and trying to silence a YD offense that put up 8 runs yesterday.
It starts with R.J. Austin, the right-handed hitter out of Vanderbilt. Romero fires a strike. Defensive alignment for the Firebirds from left to right in the outfield, Micheletti Jr., King Jr., and Jake Casey. The 0-1 from Romero is a slider that runs outside. At third is Brandon Stallman, shortstop Jack Penny, Oyama at second, and Hallback at first, and Owen Carpellotti does the catching for Ivan Romero. The 1-1 is lined down the right field line in fair territory for a base hit. Austin touches first and will head back. A leadoff single for R.J. Austin in the bottom of the first.
That's what R.J. Austin does. We talked about it yesterday back from Eldredge. His at-bats end quickly. The result is usually good. He's very aggressive and so on time with his swing. He's made Orleans pay this summer.
Standing on first is Austin. Hunter Hines is the batter from the left side. And what a season he's had this summer. A first pitch ball outside from Romero. Hitting .250, but those aren't the numbers that show out in the league leading of stat categories. 10 home runs. He leads the league by 3 and 36 RBIs. He's led this offense all season, although he's been a little bit cold lately. The strikeout numbers, high for Hines, 40 strikeouts on the summer in just 30-plus games. Romero comes set in the stretch. Austin off first. The 1-0 pitch is high to Hines.
It's been a tale of 2 seasons for Hines, especially with the strikeout numbers, like you said. Only struck out 12 times in his first 15 games. He struck out 28 times in his last 17. Wasn't in the lineup yesterday. Got a day off after the All-Star game.
Performed in the All-Star game. The 2-0 is high, now 3-0 Austin led off with a leadoff single, and now Hines is up 3-0 in the count against Romero. Also performed in the home run hitting contest before the All-Star game. Did not win. James Tibbs out of Brewster won. 3-0 is high. A 4-pitch walk, so an immaculate inning from Doctorzik, and the first 2 runners for YD reach against Romero here in the first.
It's so difficult to finish an inning off strong after you allow the first 2 base runners to reach. And Braden Montgomery, who was really good yesterday, the Stanford star currently in the portal, went 2 for 2 from the plate and walked twice. Orleans has to attack here, even given the situation.
So runners on first and second. Nobody out here in the bottom of the first. No score between the Red Sox and the Firebirds. Montgomery swings first pitch and fouls it first base side on the ground weakly. A wind that's blowing straight out to left field where the Merrill Red Wilson Field scoreboard is. Home of not only the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox, but also the Dennis-Yarmouth High School team where we are right now. Dennis-Yarmouth High School. The 0-1 from Romero is blocked up by Carpellotti in the dirt. Romero is a rising senior to U of San Diego. He's played summer ball in the Northwoods League after his freshman year. Pitched to a .67 ERA in half a season in the Northwoods League. The 1-1 is pulled foul, first base side. Hallback will grab it up. 1-2 now the count to Montgomery. Pitched for YD last year and now pitching for the Firebirds.
Yeah, he was great last year with YD as well. A 2.2 ERA in 6 appearances and 3 starts. Also closed 2 games, did a little bit of everything, and was a league all-star.
1-2 to Montgomery with 2 on and nobody out in the bottom of the first. Romero takes a deep breath in the stretch, now deals low, no chase from Montgomery, who's only had 14 bats for the Red Sox, at-bats for the Red Sox this summer. A .285 batting average with 1 RBI, which he got yesterday on an RBI single.
It's only a matter of time until he starts to turn it on.
Another deep breath from Romero and a look back to second. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. The high fastball gets Montgomery chasing for out number 1. So 1 out, 2 on. Xander Darby to the plate, who had probably the game of his summer yesterday. 4 for 5 went Darby. He's almost hitting 300 at 298. The lefty out of UCSB, Santa Barbara. The first pitch to the lefty is lined up the middle. Past Oyama at second into center field. Around third is Austin. He will score. The throw in from Eddie King. Not in time. And Xander Darby continues from last night, an RBI single to put the Red Sox up 1-0.
Darby's played like a man possessed. Had to hit in his 6th straight game. He's driven in a run in 4 games in a row. Who would have thought somebody who had a quiet start to the summer, a rising junior from UC Santa Barbara, will be the key cog and the cleanup batter in this lineup? But he has been the man for YD.
Manny Garza, who didn't play last night, takes the first pitch ball from Romero. On second is Hunter Hines. On first is Xander Darby. 1 out. Bottom of the first, 1-0 Yarmouth-Dennis. Darby with 2 RBIs last night and already 1 here in the first inning. Garza fouls off the 1-0. Garza's also been here for a short amount of time. 4 hits and 11 at-bats with 1 RBI. And 4 of his hits, 2 of them are doubles. Romero gets the sign from Carpellotti. Looks back at second where Hines takes his lead. The 1-0 is chopped foul third base side and picked out of the air by Stallman. 1-2 to the lefty Garza.
For Romero so far, he's faced a tough top of the order. But he's also had some issues throwing strikes. I know you don't necessarily want to throw it down the heart of the zone against a lot of really good guys at the top of the order, but the same amount of strikes as he does balls through 16 pitches so far.
1-2 the count against Garza. Romero kicks and deals and strikes out Garza. A changeup low and gets him to chase for out number 2. Two strikeouts for Romero. Those are both of his outs here in the first as he looks to limit the damage against YD. Who already has 1 run across the plate. That was R.J. Austin on a Xander Darby RBI single. Up comes Casey Cook. 1 for 4 a day last night was the lefty Cook. He takes a first pitch strike from Romero. Cook comes out of UNC, North Carolina, and bats with 2 outs and 2 on.
Only hitting 200 on the summer, but 5 for his last 11, including that hit last night.
Another look back at second. The 0-1 is pulled to Oyama at second on the ground. The throw to first is in time. All things considered, with the first 2 batters reaching, Romero only allows 1 on 2 hits. 1-0 Yarmouth-Dennis as we head to the second. After a 9-pitch first inning for Jason Doctorzik, including 3 strikeouts, an immaculate inning, YD puts up 1, an RBI single by Xander Darby. Due up for the Firebirds here in the second, Matt Hallback, Eddie Micheletti Jr., and Brandon Stallman, 4, 5, and 6 against the righty Doctorzik.
Some things you just don't expect to see any day you come out here and play baseball. For Doctorzik, he's probably going to remember that, I'd say, for the rest of his career. It's something that's very hard to replicate and very hard to do, especially against a great top of the order for Orleans. He probably knew he did it. Now he has to settle in, see if he can continue to pump in strikes and have his best stuff against one of the best hitters in the league, in Matt Hallback.
The righty out of UC San Diego swings first pitch, chops it past the mound. Doctorzik drops it, and Hallback is going to reach. It was a high chopper on the first base side of the mound. Doctorzik looked to glove it and touch first himself. It went in and out of his glove. They ruled that a hit. Hallback is on base to lead off the second.
That's certainly interesting. Doctorzik had that right in his glove. He would have had plenty of time either to step on the bag himself or flip it. It just slips right away. After such a great inning, a tough miscue to let a leadoff base runner reach.
First time Doctorzik has had to pitch from the stretch today. It's the first runner for the Firebirds. And up comes Eddie Micheletti Jr. Takes a strike on the slider, a backdoor one to the lefty, who's heading to Virginia Tech in the fall. This summer, he's hitting .261 with 2 home runs and 14 RBIs. A deep breath for Doctorzik. The 0-1 to Micheletti's outside. Defensive alignment for YD because we couldn't do it in the first with it only being 9 pitches. R.J. Austin in left, Paxton Kling in center, Braden Montgomery in right. Darby at third, Hardy at shortstop, Jackson at second, and Cook at first, with Garza doing the catching. For Doctorzik, who gets the sign from Garza, the 1-1 to Micheletti. At the bottom of the zone is called a strike.
Micheletti, who had such a great game in the second leg of that doubleheader against Chatham on Friday, went 4 for 4 with a double and 2 runs driven in. Cooled off a little bit yesterday against YD. trying to get back on track here.
A check over on Hallback, who dives back easily.
3 for 15 this summer is Micheletti against YD. Had a hit in each of his first 3 games against the Red Sox before he was held off a board last night.
Not often you see Eddie Micheletti Jr. not on the board. The 1-2 is high. Doctorzik, a 4-pitch mix. Starting at Sonoma State, now at Nevada Reno. Not the best numbers, but the analytics, the behind-the-scenes numbers really favor him, including the strikeouts and what he can do with a fastball that moves so much. The Firebirds saw it in the first inning. 2-2, the fastball is fouled away by Micheletti.
You and I have talked about it a lot. It's not necessarily the velo that's going to win for you in today's age of data analytics. You know, the batters know how to face velo. They've seen it in the machine every single day. But if your pitches can move, well, that's something you can't really train for. It's much more difficult to train for pitches with movement than pitches with just pure speed.
The 2-2 from Doctorzik is inside and low. Micheletti gets out of the way, so the count runs full. Hallback's at first after a leadoff infield single. YD up 1-0 here in the top of the second. The Red Sox and the Firebirds meeting up for the second time in 2 days, and the 5th time overall this season. 2-2 the season series between these two squads. The full count pitch is chopped up the middle. Caught by Gleed at first, tossed to second for the out. The throwback was not made. A fielder's choice. It goes 3-6. Hallback is retired, and Eddie Micheletti is on first.
The game that these two teams played from YD early on in the year. 5-4 victory for the Firebirds in extra innings all the way back on June 25th, nearly a month ago. Arguably the most fun and exciting game of the season for Orleans, but tonight's game might be the most pivotal in terms of East Division standings.
The Firebirds 3.5 games behind the Red Sox. They sit in second. The Red Sox are in first. A first pitch strike deal to the lefty, Brendan Stallman. 2 for 4 day for Stallman, and he's been a big part of this order. He's only played 6 games coming into today, but he's moved his way up the lineup because of how productive he's been. The 0-1 is pulled on the ground foul, first base side.
He's got multiple hits in half his games, and that's how you're going to force your way into the lineup. Was a decent player last year in the Coastal Plains League, but transferred to Charlotte and became a completely different player. It was fantastic during his junior season, and he's translated his hot end of the season with the 49ers here to the Cape.
0-2 count on Stallman. With 1 out, Micheletti off first. Firebirds down 1-0 here in the top of the second. The 0-2 pitch is pulled up the middle, off the glove of Doctorzik. Charging is the shortstop. Jackson, his throw to first is not in time. Some infield single luck for the Firebirds here in the top of the second, and they have 2 runners on with 1 out.
That's also going to go down as a hit, like you said, for Stallman. Hasn't been fancy from Orleans, but they're continuing to drive Doctorzik's pitch count up. These aren't necessarily the most easy plays for him to make off the mound, but these hits preventable. And Orleans catching a break, but can they cash in?
Stallman hit it right back up the middle. Doctorzik put his glove down as Garza, the catcher, is going to go talk with Doctorzik on the mound. Stallman hit it right back up the middle on the ground. Doctorzik, it hit off the tip of his glove. He didn't reach down far enough, and it went right behind the mound. Jackson, the shortstop, charged in but didn't have enough time to get Stallman. Micheletti moved to second. 1 out, and up comes Owen Carpellotti, the lefty catcher out of Georgetown.
Carp has been really solid as of late. His last 9 games, he's driven in 4 runs. His latest a sac fly in the 9th inning against Chatham on Friday in the second leg of that doubleheader to walk off the A's and split the series.
In game 2 of a doubleheader. Well, the Firebirds really needed that win. They lacked a little bit of energy in game 1. Carpellotti takes a first pitch strike on the slider from Doctorzik. A game that went back and forth. Carpellotti called game with the sac fly to bring in Jake Casey, who pinch ran for Eddie Micheletti. He's on second base. The 0-1's outside. The inning started with a Matt Hallback single. He was forced out at second on a fielder's choice, where Micheletti reached. And then an infield single by Brandon Stallman. He's on first, Micheletti on second, 1 out here in the top of the second.
These are the kinds of situations Orleans has had a bit of an issue with over this 4-game stretch where they've only gone 1-3.
The 1-1 pitch is fouled off the end of the bat. Third base side from the lefty Carpellotti. After a 9-pitch, immaculate first inning. Now 14 pitches so far here in the second for the righty starter for YD.
Still continuing to throw strikes. 19 pitches for strikes on his 23 total.
Takes a breath. The 1-2 to Carpellotti. A fastball off the outside corner. 2-2.
Carpellotti's eye has gotten so much better as the summer's gone on. Only 6 strikeouts in his last 31 at-bats compared to 12 in his first 33. And that's helped him out a great deal.
Cut down on the K's. And more balls in play. Doctorzik deals the 2-2. There's a strikeout. A fastball that's tipped into the glove of Garza for out number 2. Doctorzik's 4th strikeout and out number 2 here in the second. Up comes Eddie King. His first start in 3 days since game 1 against Chatham. Micheletti on second. On first is Brandon Stallman. 2 outs in the top of the second. YD up 1-0. Doctorzik taps his front foot 3 times before he comes set. The first pitch to King is a slider for a strike.
King still in search of his first hit against YD this summer. 0 for 5 in 3 meetups with the Red Sox. That's what happens when you run into the best pitching staff in the league, and a pitching staff that has only gotten better as the summer's gone on.
King has seen his playing time decrease over the past week. The 0-1 is lined into center field and down for a base hit in shallow center. Micheletti is going to get the stop sign at third as the throw comes in quickly. A single by Eddie King now loads the bases with 2 outs for Jake Casey.
That's a great swing from Eddie King. And if he wants his playing time to go up, to have at bats like that, that's the key. In big spots with 2 outs and 2 runners on, to drive a pitch in the lower third of his zone into center field and load the bases for the powerful Jake Casey. Orleans, another bases loaded spot. You need to come away with a run.
They've left the bases loaded 4 times over the past 3 games. Doctorzik in his first jam. Jake Casey, the batter, the lefty out of Kent State. The first pitch from Doctorzik is on the outside corner for a strike. On third is Micheletti. On second is Stallman, and on first is Eddie King, with 2 outs in the top of the second. Casey comes in with a batting average of 176. 9 hits on the summer, with 3 of them going out of the park, 3 home runs. The 0-1 is low to Casey, who also hasn't started in 3 days. His first at-bat since game 1 against Chatham on Friday. Will that time off help him or hurt him? It helped Eddie King. He got a single with 2 outs right before Casey stepped into the box. The 1-1 from Doctorzik is a foul ball right at home plate. 1-2.
Doctorzik's done a great job at keeping a lot of his good stuff low in the zone. You hear pitchers talk about it all the time, especially for a hitter like Jake Casey, who leads Orleans with 3 home runs on the year, playing in a field where he can hit a home run very easily. Do not give him anything in the middle third.
Doctorzik pitching from the stretch. Taps his front foot. The 1-2 pitch to Casey is outside with the fastball. 2-2. 3 hits for the Firebirds with only 1 exiting the infield. That was Eddie King's single to shallow center. Just one batter ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Doctorzik 1 pitch away from getting out of a bases loaded jam. Against Jake Casey, the 2-2 is low, and we've reached the maximum. Bases loaded, counts full, 2 outs. Runners will be off. Casey looking for a big moment, looking for the big hit that the Firebirds haven't gotten in the past week. Doctorzik from the stretch against Casey. The payoff pitch is in there for a cold strike 3. The Firebirds leave the bases loaded once again. Doctorzik gets out of it with his 5th strikeout. He's recorded 6 outs, 5 of them are strikeouts, 3 hits for the Firebirds. They leave the bases juiced as we go to the bottom of the 2nd. Here in the bottom of the 2nd, 3 hits for the Firebirds in the top of the frame. They can't bring home any runners. They still trail 1-0 to Yarmouth-Dennis as Ivan Romero heads back to the mound. He'll face Paxton Kling, who came in as a replacement in last night's game after Enzo Apodaca got hurt. The pop-up is to center field and caught by Eddie King.
So Dub Gleed retired on just 1 pitch, and now go to the 8th man in Kling.
Here's Kling. Gleed made the first out. Kling out of LSU. 1 out for Romero on 1 pitch. The pitch is low with the slider. And what does Romero have to do better here in the 2nd that he didn't do in the 1st?
I mean, obviously, throw strikes is an easy one, even though he's starting to pump strikes more in the zone. 2 straight here to Kling. Got Gleed to fly out very quickly. He was pretty even in the 1st inning in terms of balls and strikes. You want that number to be around 70-80%, ideally.
Well, 1 is inside with the fastball. When talking to Romero, a really interesting guy. He said that he's a pitcher that has no fear. He'll go inside on righties when a lot of pitchers won't. The 1-1 inside fastball, and he gets a ground ball out of Kling. Long throw in the scoop by Hallback. Solman at 3rd gets it to Hallback in time. 2 batters up, 2 batters down here in the 2nd against Romero.
That's refreshing to hear, especially in a league as good as this, and especially when you look at the top of the order as good as YD's. I know the first time around it wasn't the smoothest for Romero. Gave up a single to R.J. Austin, a walk to Hunter Hines, and Vander Darby drove in a single.
The first pitch to Jackson is a strike.
Drove in a run with a single, but that's a mentality you have to have. You can't come in here thinking you can pitch around everybody.
The 0-1 is low. 2 outs, nobody on. YD up 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. Of the second of a back-to-back between these two teams that wasn't originally scheduled. The game yesterday was made up after a rainout earlier in the season. The only common off day that these two teams could play. The 0-1 fouled away, 0-2.
Crazy to think that there's just 10 games left in this Cape Cod Baseball League season, including tonight in the regular season. Only one off day left, too. That's Thursday.
The 1-2 pitch is smoked up the middle, but Oyama's right there. It goes in and out of his glove. A high hop off the infield grass. Oyama had to stick his glove up over his head and couldn't corral it.
That's a hit.
They're going to call that a hit. It was well struck, and they'll call it a single for Ryan Jackson. He's the 9-hitter. So after 2 quick outs against YD, they get a single with 2 outs. Here's RJ Austin back to the top of the order. The first pitch is smoked down the left field line in fair territory. Around second goes Jackson. In the corners, Micheletti. They're going to give him the wave. Jackson's heading to the plate. The relay throw is not made. An RBI double for RJ Austin as he dances at second base. 2-0 YD.
That's about as good as you can hit a baseball down the line, and not a whole lot Eddie Micheletti could do about that. That ball just trickled into foul territory right in the corner. Ryan Jackson with 2 stolen bases on the year. He's got good speed. He did get caught stealing yesterday, but he shows Orleans just the kind of speed he has, his ability to work his way around the horn on that well-hit ball in the corner from RJ Austin, who's been great to start this game.
High and swinging first pitch in the air to right. Playable. Jay Casey makes the catch in right field for out number 3. 2 quick outs for Ivan Romero, but a single and a double allows YD to put on another. They double their lead and now lead 2-0 as we go to the third.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The Red Sox are currently up 2-0, heading to the top of the third. Now, mid-game adjustments are crucial in order to find success and win tight games, and one player who has continued to do so all season long is UC San Diego's infielder Matt Hallback. Last night when he realized YD was shifting, he knew that at his next at-bat, he could poke it in the hole. And what happened, you ask? He poked it right in the hole and got a beautiful double. That is the recipe for a talented player, the ability to see changes that your opponent is making and then counteract with an adjustment of your own. This is what the Firebirds staff has been preaching all summer long and will continue to preach, especially to start taking advantage with runners on bases instead of stranding them as they have been in the past few games. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. The Firebirds lineup has been adapting, and they've been getting runners on, but getting them in has been the problem. 3 hits on the day as we start the top of the third. 2-0 YD, and Jason Doctorzik is back to the mound. Doctorzik's first pitch to Oyama as he squares around a bunt, pulls it back. It's called a strike. Oyama struck out in the first, which was an immaculate inning for Doctorzik.
Yeah, at top of the order, Oyama, Ruben Penny trying to fare a little better second time around. Only one way to go.
The 0-1 to Oyama is up and away. Does not square to bunt this time. One and one to the lefty out of UC Irvine. He's been leading off for this team ever since the second week of the season. The 1-1 is in the air to right. Back goes Montgomery toward the track at the wall. He makes the catch.
Joe Oyama's shown a little bit of his home run power as of late. Hit his first 2 long balls of the season in the doubleheader against Chatham on Friday. Has a good opportunity tonight in Red Wilson Field, where it's just 350 in center and much shorter in the corners to hit his third, but Montgomery in the right spot.
Doctorzik gets out number 1 in the third. He'll face Justin Rubin, who fouls away the first pitch. Rubin, another player who's been retired by the strikeout by Doctorzik. He already has 5 on the night. He came in to this outing with 17 and 18 and a third innings on the summer.
All of it out of the bullpen, but he had proven he could give you some length with 3 outings headed into tonight of at least 3 innings pitched.
Pitching in inning number 3 right now. The 1-1 is in for a strike. Doctorzik having everything working in inning number 1. Looking to get back to where he was in that first frame here in the third. The 1-2 with 1 out and the base is empty. A swing and a miss. Rubin goes down on a slider in the dirt. Strikeout number 6 for Doctorzik. And up comes Jack Penny.
That has been his wipeout pitch right now. And it's hard not to swing at it because it ends up in the dirt, but that's not where it starts. Great movement on that pitch.
Jack Penny, the batter. 2 outs, bases empty, takes a strike on the off-speed pitch. 3 hits for Orleans. All 3 came in the second, but all 3 were singles. Couldn't get a runner home there. Trail 2-0. Nobody on in the third. The 0-1 is outside to Penny. YD sporting the red caps. Orleans with red jerseys. The red undershirts along with the red vests. A lot of red on the field today at Red Wilson Field. The 1-1 is up the middle, but playing there was the shortstop, Jackson. He'll throw to first for the out. The shift pays off for YD. Doctorzik fires another 1-2-3 inning against the top of the Orleans order. 2-0 the Red Sox lead as we go to the bottom of the third. Two 2-0 the YD Red Sox lead as we head to the bottom of the third. Ivan Romero, who got bit by a 2-out rally in the second, a single by Ryan Jackson, and then a double by RJ Austin, bringing Jackson around to score a run in each of the first 2 innings for YD. Bottom of the third, the first pitch from Romero to Braden Montgomery is outside and high, who struck out in the first. A switch hitter batting from the left side. The 1-0 is cranked up the middle, base hit as it lands in center field. A leadoff single for YD, and Braden Montgomery has his 5th hit on the summer.
Montgomery's starting to find his stride, and nobody should be surprised. You know, Pac-12 first team selection for one of the best teams in all of college baseball in Stanford this past spring, who made a deep tournament run. Whoever finds him in the transfer portal is going to be happy.
Xander Darby, who's been as hot as it gets, takes the ball outside to start his at-bat. An RBI single in the first to bring home R.J. Austin for the game's first run. YD here in the third, nobody out. Montgomery on first with 5 hits already on the day. The 1-0 is very late. The swing by Darby on the fastball. 3 home runs Darby has. Good for second on the team to you-know-who, Hunter Hines. The 1-1 is a fastball that's popped up into left. Micheletti moving to his right, makes the catch, and will toss it back in as Montgomery retreats back to first. 1 out here in the third.
That's a big out to get. Xander Darby has been one of the toughest outs, if not the toughest out, in the Cape League over the last week, half a week. And after a leadoff base runner reaches Montgomery, to retire him on just a couple pitches, Romero needed to get that out.
Another lefty, Manny Garza, takes the first pitch fastball for a strike from Romero. He needs to keep this game where it is, allowing a run in the first 2 innings. And a runner on with 1 out. Montgomery on first. Romero will check over on the runner. Montgomery dives back safely. A rare occurrence in these days of baseball. Montgomery going with the no batting gloves look on base. Taking a 2-step lead. The 0-1 is high from Romero to Garza.
It's just, the uniforms are classic for YD. They've got some throwback players on this team. Manager that's the longest tenure in the league and the winningest manager in league history in Scott Pickler. I think it makes sense.
The 1-1 to Garza is pulled over the first baseman's head and into right field. Montgomery turns second. He'll head to third. A single to right by Manny Garza. And YD has runners on the corners with 1 out here in the third.
Yeah, this is not an ideal spot for Romero right now. I mean, the good news is you retired the hottest hitter in this lineup in Xander Darby, but 2 good pieces of hitting. Not necessarily hard hit, but making good contact, driving it into the outfield, Montgomery and Garza. Luckily, you did get that 1 out.
Romero, 1 out, runners on the corners, and a first pitch strike fired to Casey Cook. If there is anyone that Romero would want to face right now, it is Casey Cook, who has not had a good start to his summer, hitting 194, but does have 11 RBIs. A fly ball to the outfield would make it 12. The 0-1 is a pop-up to deep left. In comes Micheletti. The runner on third is Montgomery. Catch by Micheletti. The throw to home is offline. A sac fly, and moving to second is Garza. Make it 3-0 YD, a run in each inning. 2 outs, Garza on second. And the fundamentals for the Orleans Firebirds are not where they should be right now.
No, and Eddie Micheletti's played a solid corner outfield this summer, and that throw was strong enough, but like you mentioned, off to the left, didn't hit the mark for Owen Carpellotti to apply a tag on Montgomery. You clog the base paths, you cash in runs. On the other side of things, Orleans did not do that when they loaded the bases. And YD's responded by adding to the lead.
Dub Gleed takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. Micheletti's throw was offline and nobody cut it off. The cutoff would be the third baseman Stallman, which allowed Garza to tag from first and head to second. He's now in scoring position for YD. The 0-1 is popped foul first base side from Gleed, who flew out in the second. He comes up for the second time here in the third. A 3-0 game that YD leads in and is on the verge of getting out of hand, especially with the struggles of the Orleans offense in the past week or so. Romero looking to keep it right there. The 0-2 fastball, that's high.
It's also a starting rotation that's looked widely different for Orleans. You gave Ivan Romero credit in his first 2 starts. He only gave up 2 earned in 8 innings. But Ivan Romero, Sam Leboki, the 2 pitchers that YD has seen over the last few days.
1-2 is low. A block by Carpellani keeps Garza at second.
Those 2 weren't on the opening day roster for the Firebirds, and that's just summer ball, right? You have to adjust, work with who you have, figure out what they do well, support them, but things change really quickly here in the CCBL.
2-2, 2 outs. Garza on second. Romero fires to Gleed, who fouls at third base side and past the feet of Scott Pickler, the manager for the YD Red Sox and also the third base coach.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I'd say roughly half the coaches in this league, the managers that is, coach third base. Orleans, no. That's hitting coach Max Fesky, but Scott Pickler, Mike Roberts, Eric Beatty of Hyannis, Roberts of Katuitt, they're out there.
2-2 fastball is crushed to left center. Back goes King at the wall. He makes the catch on the run. A loud out, but an out at that. Strands Manny Garza at second. YD does add another on a sac fly by Casey Cook to bring in Braden Montgomery. 3-0 Red Sox as we head to the 4th. Here in the top of the 4th as the sun is truly coming out to play. An early start in Yarmouth today, 4:30, usually 4:45. Moved up because sunset is a little bit earlier as we get deeper into the summer. 3-0 YD the score. Matt Hallback is the first batter for the Firebirds here in the top of the 4th against Jason Doctorzik. His first pitch is popped to short and into the glove of the shortstop Jackson for out number 1.
It's now 5 in a row retired by Doctorzik after he went 1-2-3 on 10 pitches in the 3rd and also handed Jake Casey a looking strikeout to end the 2nd inning and to leave the bases loaded and stranded for Orleans. He's still feeling it.
Doctorzik has had an interesting outing so far, as he'll face Eddie Micheletti with 1 out and the bases empty. A first pitch fastball for a strike. 9-pitch immaculate inning in the 1st. Then he went to the 2nd and threw 24 pitches, had the bases loaded with 2 outs, got out of that jam. A 10-pitch 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd. Micheletti fouls off the 0-1, third base side out of play. And now retired the first batter in the 4th on a pop out to short. 0-2 the count to the lefty Micheletti. It's grounded up the middle, off the glove of Doctorzik. Austin's going to race to it. The throw to first is high and off the facing of the Orleans dugout. Reaching first is Eddie Micheletti. We'll see how they rule it. It's been a generous day, to say the least, for hits when it comes to the scoreboard. And there's another one.
Oh my gosh.
As it went off the glove of Doctorzik, it was directed toward first base. R.J. Austin, the second baseman, had to redirect his track and couldn't get there in time.
Doctorzik is dishing out dimes today. It's interesting. Maybe the error column doesn't work on the scoreboard on left.
Possibility. Brandon Stallman is the batter. He singled as well in the infield. Takes the first pitch ball inside. Micheletti has reached on a fielder's choice and now a single here in the fourth. Stallman also singled. That was in the second.
3 hits in his last 2 games against YD. Stallman heating up at a really good time.
The 1-0 pitch from Doctorzik's outside. 4 hits for the Firebirds, 6 hits for YD through the first 3+ innings. Top 4, runner on first for Orleans with 1 out, 3-0 the score in favor of YD. Doctorzik pitching from the stretch. Takes a breath. The 2-0 is on the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, Doctorzik is either landing strikes on the lower third or keeping some of his really good stuff on the outer half of the plate. Pitch location has been really solid from him today. Nothing really up in the zone or in the middle third.
Jackson, the shortstop, playing about 2 steps to the left of second base in the shift. The 2-1 offering is a ground ball right to Doctorzik. Throws to second for 1. On the first, double play. 1-6-3 in the book as Doctorzik gets out of another jam in the fourth. 3-0 YD as we go to the bottom of the frame. We'll head to the bottom of the fourth here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Dylan Pescatore and Ian Nicholas on the call. 3-0 YD is the score. Paxton Kling is the batter. Grounded out to third in his first at-bat in the second inning. Ivan Romero back to the mound for his fourth inning of work. Fires low to Kling with the slider. Romero pitches from the windup with nobody on and nobody out. Fastball that's lined into left field and down for a base hit. Micheletti corrals it and tosses it back in, but a leadoff single for Kling. And YD's got their third leadoff man in 4 innings on.
Orleans saw a bit of Paxton Kling yesterday when Enzo Apodaca went down with a mid-game injury. He was quiet, grinded into a double play, flew out, and walked. Gets his first hit in his last 2 games, and that was a well-struck ball to left that curved towards the line.
Kling takes off, high pitch, swung at Carpelotti's throw, the tag, not in time. Trying to protect the runner was Ryan Jackson, swung at a pitch way over his head, and he did so. Kling takes second on a stolen base. He's in scoring position with nobody out.
Second stolen bag for him on the year. That was the highest pitch thrown by either pitcher today. Not a good swing.
The 0-1, as Romero's in the stretch, is low. Jackson squared around a bunt, pulled it back once he saw the pitch, almost hitting home plate. 7 hits now for YD in just 3 innings. Romero's 1-1, bunted by Jackson, first base line, picked up by Romero, tossed to first is in time. Moving to third is Paxton Kling, a perfect sac bunt for Ryan Jackson.
Everything's worked for YD today. You know, you've got your leadoff runner aboard in 3 of the first 4 innings. You've gotten the big hit. You've also gotten the timely hit. This is an offense that has been up and down throughout the course of the season, but seems to really be finding its footing since the All-Star break Saturday.
R.J. Austin back to the top of the order. First pitch is outside from Romero, and Austin's had himself a day. A single in the first, came around to score, and then an RBI single in this, or RBI double in the second. On third is Kling. The Firebirds bring their infield in. All 4 infielders with their feet on the grass. The 1-0 is an inside-out swing. Hallback catches it at first, and Kling will retreat back to the bag. I'm not sure if Austin meant to swing at that high fastball, but the Firebirds take it and record out number 2.
That pitch did clip the outside corner. Check swing from Austin. Unfortunate, because he was dominating early in this game. Kelly Nicholson makes his way to the mound to check in on Romero. Could be game over for him.
Nicholson will head to the mound. Romero giving him a few nods, saying that he can stay in this game. Kling is on third with 2 outs, and I'm sure Kelly Nicholson's thinking the same thing that we are, that this game cannot get more than 3-0. A 4th or 5th run across for YD, and it'll be really difficult to come back from. A long conversation between Romero, Carpellotti, the infielders, and Kelly Nicholson, who taps Romero on the chest and says, "You got this," says you can stay back out there. 2 outs. Hunter Hines is the batter, and Kling is on third.
Nicholson remembers the last time his team was here and Hunter Hines was playing. 2 home runs. And even though it's been a slower second half of the season for the Mississippi State star, that's the amount of respect he commands.
First pitch is at the bottom of the zone for a strike to the lefty Hines. Ryan Reeses is warming for the Firebirds in the bullpen. 0-1 the count. Romero kicks and deals a fastball outside. Pitching from the stretch, even though the runner's on third base. In Kling. Lefty Hines coming in, hitting .250. The 1-1, a line drive to right. It'll get down for a base hit. In comes Kling with run number 4 for YD. Hunter Hines delivers his 37th RBI in the summer. Comes with 2 outs, an RBI single.
Things starting to get back on track for Hunter Hines. Took his walk in the first inning, flew out in the second, drove in 2 runs and a big win against Friday against Brewster, and continues to make good contact like he has all summer here against Romero.
Braden Montgomery takes a ball outside. Ian, how do you feel about the decision to keep Romero in there with the lefty warming in the bullpen and Hines seeing him for a 3rd time? The 1-0 to Montgomery is low.
It's challenging because the last time Kelly Nicholson decided to make a decision with Hunter Hines, or maybe not make a decision, you know, Sean Matson versus him a few months back.
2-0 pulled on the ground up the middle for a base hit. Hines thought about 3. He'll stay at 2. That'll make it 3 hits on the inning for YD, and that'll make it the end of the night for Ivan Romero. 3 2/3, allowing 4 runs and 2 more runners on base, his responsibility. The Firebirds are going to the bullpen, down 4-0 in the bottom of the 4th. The Firebirds go from U of San Diego to UC San Diego. Ryan Reeses, the pitcher out of the bullpen for Orleans with 2 on and 2 outs. The lefty hurler is on for his 3rd appearance, all out of the bullpen. And this one, once again, out of the pen. Last pitch 3 days ago in the doubleheader against Chatham. Went 2 innings, 1 run. It was earned, 2 hits and a walk with 3 strikeouts.
Not only going from one San Diego arm to another, at least in terms of where their colleges are located, but going from one second-year Cape Cod Baseball League hurler to another as well. Reeses in his 2nd year here with the Birds. He's been excellent at getting outs, especially against left-handers, and he faces one of the better ones in the league, in Xander Darby.
Lefty-lefty. Darby with an RBI single in the 1st to get Whitey on the board, then flew out to left in the 3rd. 4-0 YD. They are on the brink of having double-digit hits in just 4 innings. Have 9 already on the board. The first pitch to Darby is a strike with the fastball from the lefty Reeses. Hines is at second. An RBI single for him. And then a single from Braden Montgomery right back up the middle. Puts 2 on with 2 outs. And Reeses is in to keep it at 4-0 before this thing gets out of hand. The 0-1 pitch is low. You look at 9 hits from YD, 4 hits from Orleans, and only one of those 4 hits, Ian, has even escaped the infield.
They've gotten lucky, and unfortunately, they haven't been able to turn some of those defensive miscues in the infield from YD into runs.
The 1-1 pitch over the top and a strike called on Darby. Home plate umpire Will Bowers, first base umpire Carmen Parati, and third base umpire Christopher Scott. 1-1 the count. The pitch is going the other way and down in the left field for a base hit. Around third comes Hines. He's going to score. Another RBI single for Xander Darby, make it number 2 on the day. He goes oppo, and YD leads 5-0.
Sometimes things are out of your control. That baseball was not hit hard. It was a blooper. Right over the head of Jack Penning at short and way in front of Eddie Micheletti in left. There's no play to make. Ryan Reeses, not a bad pitch. Got weak contact. That's the key, especially against somebody who's hitting the baseball hard in Darby. Orleans can't catch a break, at least from the pitching side of things.
He'll now face Manny Garza. First pitch is rocked into center field, but right at Eddie King, who makes the catch. For out number 3, 4 more hits for YD in this 4th inning, including 2 runs. They lead 5-0 as we go to the 5th, and Ian Nicholas takes over on the play-by-play.
Top of the 5th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Thanks so much for joining us. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call from Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth, where YD leads Orleans 5-0 2 more runs come across the board in the bottom of the 4th for the Red Sox, thanks to run-scoring singles from Hunter Hines and Xander Darby. Orleans trying to respond with the bottom 3 in the order. It starts with the left-handed catcher from Georgetown and Owen Carpellotti, who faces the scorching hot Jason Doctorzik, who's back out on the mound for his 5th inning of work. 6 strikeouts in 4 scoreless frames. His first pitch to Carpellotti misses outside, 1-0. 3 of those Ks came in the 1st inning alone. A 9-pitch immaculate frame in which Doctorzik struck out Joe Oyama, Justin Rubin, and Jack Penny. His 1-0 on the way. Swung through and missed. Now an even count to Carpellotti, 1-1. A run in each of the first 4 innings for YD, including 2 in the 4th. Orleans has had opportunities for hits, but no runs to show for it. The 1-1, another whiff, 1-2.
Orleans with 4 hits, and 3 of them came in that 2nd inning.
An inning in which Orleans left the bases loaded. Jay Casey with a backwards K to end the frame after clogging the base paths. Carpellotti takes a ball. Still behind 1-2. The pitch count looks good for Doctorzik. 55 pitches, 40 of them for strikes. His 1-2 offering is popped up to shallow right center field. Ranging towards his left is Kling, and he makes the catch. The center fielder snags it for the first out of the 5th inning.
Doctorzik has everything working for him here, and especially pitching with a lead this big and 5-0. He can try out a few things and not have to be worried that he has to be perfect every single pitch.
It was an up-and-down sophomore season for Doctorzik at Nevada, but it ended really strong, as he now faces Eddie King Jr. and misses inside towards the knees of the right-handed outfielder to make the count 1-0. With nobody on and 1 out. YD leads 5-0 in the top of the 5th. Doctorzik's 1-0 offering. In for a strike, 1-1. His final outing of the season, in a year in which he had just under a 6.5 ERA and 75 innings pitched, was fantastic. Against San Jose State, he struck out a season-high 12 batters in under 6 innings pitched. The 1-1 is cranked to left and down for a hit in the corner. Eddie King's got his 2nd hit of the game. He's trying to turn it into an extra base hit. The throw is cut off in the outfield. Eddie King in there standing up for a double. 2 for 2 is the Louisville outfielder today. 5th hit for Orleans, who still trails 5-0.
Good swing by Eddie King. For most of the time this year, he's been going the other way and going right back up the middle. He's shown a lot of power when he pulls the ball and showed it right there again.
King, his first double of the summer, only his 2nd extra base hit. Officially. Did have a home run in that game against Chatham at Veterans Field, which is going to be resumed after it was fogged out on Friday. To the bottom of the order we go with the left-handed right fielder, Jake Casey. King takes his lead off 2nd. A miss upstairs to the Pittsburgh native. 1-0. Casey looking strikeout in the 2nd inning. Hit just under 250 during his sophomore season at Kent State in the spring. Had double-digit home runs and over 40 runs batted in for a Kent State team that won the MAC regular season title. Has had a bit of an issue with strikeouts this summer, and has one tonight. The 1-0 pitch, and for a strike to even the count, 1-1. Doctorzik just around 60 pitches through 4 1/3 innings. It's his 7th appearance of the summer, but only his first start. His longest appearance went 4 2/3 innings pitched in just his 2nd outing of the summer in a game against Bourne. King off 2nd after he doubled to left field. 5-0 YD, the 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed. Low of the zone. Casey goes behind.
Casey's having trouble at times with pitches below the zone, especially off speed. That's usually that gets him in a swing and miss.
Doctorzik at the belt. YD with the white jerseys tonight. The red lettering, the blue trim, the red caps. Doctorzik checks in on the speedy King. Deals the 1-2. Gets the whiff. Another pitch low of the zone from the Nevada standout. Gets Casey swinging and missing for strike 3 for the second time tonight. It's 7 strikeouts for Doctorzik in 4 2/3 innings pitched. Still 5-0 YD in the top of the 5th.
Another pitch that the Firebirds are chasing. 10 strikeouts last night and 7 already today.
Back to the top of the order for the 3rd time today with Joe Oyama, who does not have a hit in these last 2 games against YD. 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a flyout. Eddie King on second after he doubled. Doctorzik misses outside, 1-0. Oyama, a 9-game on base streak, but his 5-game hit streak, all of which were games with multiple hits, ended last night in Orleans' 8-2 loss to YD. The season series between these two teams, both at the top of the East Division, knotted up at 2 games apiece. Doctorzik, his 1-0 offering, cut on and fouled over the backstop from Red Wilson Field, 1-1. It's an absolutely jam-packed day from South Yarmouth. Seems like the whole town has come out to support a team that just picked up its 20th win of the summer last night. Only the 3rd team in the league, including a couple of West Division squads in Catuit and Hyannis, to hit the 20-win mark. Orleans 3 wins away and an even 17-17. 1 on, 2 out. King off second. 5-0. YD top 5. The 1-1 is launched to left center field and straight into the glove of the left fielder to end the inning. Doctorzik through 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, no walks, only 5 hits allowed, and a double from Eddie King Jr. doesn't turn into anything for the Firebirds. It stays 5-0 Red Sox over the Firebirds. We go to the bottom of the 5th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 5th on the Birds Broadcast Network. It's a gorgeous 79-degree afternoon on a Monday from Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth. Via Nicholas Dillon Pescatore on the call. Hasn't necessarily been a gorgeous result for the Firebirds just yet. 5-0 Red Sox over the Birds as YD trying to add to that lead. Scott Pickler's team has scored in each inning. Ryan Reeses back on the mound after he got an out last inning, trying to keep YD off the board. He misses low to the left-handed left fielder from North Carolina, Casey Cook. 0 for 1. He grounded out in the 1st inning and drove in a run with a sac fly in the 3rd. Reeses, the lefty, deals the 1-0. Misses high for ball 2. Cook, a full-time starter during his redshirt freshman season with the Tar Heels in the spring. He hit just over .320 with 11 doubles, 2 homers. A productive season after missing all but 4 games as a true freshman in 2022. The 2-0 just misses high from Reeses. Now 3-0 to the leadoff man and 6th man of the order in Cook. 10 hits already for YD. 2 runs scored, both off hits last inning from Hunter Hines and Xander Darby. 3-0 misses low and in the Cook. That's about as easy as it gets. With the baby blue cleats, he trots over to first. A leadoff walk for Casey Cook, who reaches for the first time.
You can't start an inning like that once again. Now it's 4 times that the Firebirds pitching staff has allowed the leadoff man to reach. It's not a recipe for success. It's not a recipe for getting 3 outs without allowing runs. To allow the leadoff man on once again on a walk on 5 pitches.
Reeses looks at first, now deals to Dub Gleed, who is first pitch swinging and fouls it off the left. 0-1. The righty first baseman Gleed faces the left-handed Reeses. Reeses didn't walk a ton of players during his sophomore year at UC San Diego. Only 8 walks issued out in 22 innings pitched. This past spring, a bit of a different story. 23 walks handed out in just over 31 innings pitched. This summer, he's pitched in 3 innings now in his 3rd appearance with the Firebirds. And the walk he just handed out to Casey Cook, who he just checked in on with a pickoff attempt, was his 3rd of the summer. Cook off first, nobody out. 5-0 YD, bottom 5. The 0-1 missed from Gleed, who's 0 for 2 with a couple flyouts to center field. 0-2. The collegiate teammate of Joe Oyama at UC Irvine. Gleed originally from Utah. Reeses, VO2. Misses low. Ball 1.
Lefty and Reeses, has been as reliable as it can get when you look at his numbers. Very consistent. Can he be consistent for the Firebirds over the last 2 weeks?
The 1-2. Cracked right towards Brandon Stallman, who leaps at third, throws his second for 1. Oyama flips to first. Double play around the horn. 5-4-3. Stallman, Oyama, haul back for the first 2 outs of the inning.
It all started with Stallman, who had to field a rocket over in the hot corner, make a good throw to second, and Oyama flips it to first for the DP. Big play by the Firebirds defense.
First double play turned by Orleans on the night, and it brings up the 8th man of the order, Paxton Kling from LSU. The righty takes a ball on the inner half. 1-0. Kling 1 for 2. He grounded out in the second and singled for one of the 10 hits on the game for YD last inning. 1-0. Low of the zone. 2-0 to Kling, who's got the luscious blonde locks flowing out of a black helmet. The purple and black batting gloves representing the Tigers. His collegiate coach, the College World Series champion, Jay Johnson, in attendance tonight. Here from Red Wilson Field. Nobody on, 2 out. 2 balls, no strikes. Up and in, spinning around, but not actually getting hit by the pitch, was Kling, who's awarded ball 3.
And not only Kling from LSU, but also Mika Buckingham, a right-handed bullpen arm for this YD squad.
The 3-0 in for a strike. 3-1. Plenty of LSU players arriving to the Cape late after the Tigers took down the Gators of Florida in the College World Series. And YD's certainly benefited from the addition of Kling, who fouls a pitch off from Reeses, and now the count full with the bases clear and 2 out. 5-0 game, YD in front. The Red Sox in danger of being held off the board for the first half inning all night. Reeses gets the sign from Carpellotti. Kick steals the payoff. Ball 4. Just missing high was Reeses, who hands off his second walk of the inning. Hands out his second walk of the inning, rather. But beginning off with a walk to Casey Cook. Then Dub Gleed grounded into a double play, but the walks continuing to plague Orleans here in the 5th inning.
When you allow 10 hits, but also now 3 walks, it's the free passes that this Firebirds bullpen has really struggled with the past week or so, where they haven't been as good as they were in the start of the season.
An Orleans pitching staff that headed into the night had not only the 2nd lowest ERA in the league at 4.03, but also the 3rd lowest WHIP, walks and hits per innings pitched, at 1.39. A ball and no strikes of a bottom man in the order, Ryan Jackson, swing and a miss. To the USC infielder, playing shortstop tonight. Now a ball and a strike in the count. He singled in the second and laid down a sac bunt in the fourth. Runner on first is Paxton Kling, who takes off for second. Ground ball to the mound. Reeses fields it, underhand flip over to Matt Hallback at first. His collegiate teammate, the Tritons, hook up and end the inning to leave a runner stranded. Kling for YD. The score stays at 5-0 for the first time tonight. The Red Sox held off the board in a half inning. Reeses gets the job done despite a couple of walks. Orleans trying to crawl out of a 5-0 hole when we come back in the top of the sixth on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The Red Sox are currently up 5-0 heading to the top of the sixth. Now the emphasis in the dugout right now is simply to limit their errors by not overcomplicating things. They want to go all the way back to the basics and think about the fundamentals to allow them more success for the remainder of this game. The way this team wins games is passing the baton to the next guy by never trying anything too fancy. That is exactly what they have to get back to today, slowing it down at the plate, taking a deep breath, and then attacking. There is still plenty of time in this game, but that baton needs to start getting passed at a more consistent basis. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sammy. It has been tough to pass anything by Jason Doctorzik tonight. He's had one of the best starts Orleans has seen against him all season. Now heading into his sixth inning of work, the Nevada standout has given up 5 hits, but not allowed a single run to come across the board. Hasn't handed out a walk, and has struck out 7. It started with an immaculate inning in the first. Justin Rubin, the second man in the order, has struck out twice against Doctorzik. Once in the first, once in the third. Variety faces the right-handed hurler. The first pitch he sees, cracked towards short, throw to first in time. Rubin now 0 for 3 very quickly.
And a lot of first pitch swinging by the Firebirds to lead off innings. They've really struggled to get the leadoff man on. We talked about YD having a lot of success in five innings. They've gotten 4 of their leadoff men on. The Firebirds have only gotten 1 in 6.
That was all the way back in the second inning where Orleans loaded the bases, couldn't cash in. Bases clear, 1 out. Jack Penny, the lefty, to face the righty Doctorzik. Breaking ball in for a strike on the outer half, 0-1. Penny, a quiet game, 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Came into the game hitting just under .360 in his previous 12 games and done really well against YD. 0-1 on the way home. Misses in the dirt, 1-1. Penny 6 for 16 this summer against YD, at least headed into the game, including a hit last night and a quiet 2-run showing from the Firebirds. Doctorzik at the belt. Kick steals the 1-1 with a missed outside 2-1.
Jack Penny had one of the biggest hits of the season for the Firebirds right here at Red Wilson Field. A game-tying solo home run in a 1-run game to make it 4-4. Firebirds eventually won 5-4 in 10.
The 2-1 popped foul out of park towards the left field side, 2-2. It was a defining moment early on in the Firebirds season. Probably their first upset win of the year against a YD team that has sat atop the East Division standings for a good chunk of the season. Currently a 3.5-game lead over the Firebirds, who sit in second place. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Doctorzik fires away. Misses up and away for ball 3. Bases empty, 1 out. 5-0 YD, riding the coattails of a dominant start from Doctorzik, his first of the summer, after he was a starter for Nevada in the spring. His payoff on the way. Launched to center field, down for a hit. Jack Penny with his first hit of the game. Orleans with its 6th knock of a night. It's a 1-out single.
hits in the last 3 innings for the Firebirds. And now with the meat of the order coming up, this is a good opportunity. You don't have to get all 5 back, but you have to get some as the game gets into the later innings.
Can Matt Hallback, who does have one of Orleans' hit tonight, a leadoff single in the second, come up big once again? The righty, to face the righty Doctorzik, who sits at 73 pitches through 5 1/3. Foul tip. Hallback close, 0-1. Hallback steps back in wearing the camo red vest jersey, the black lettering, white trim, the red undershirt, and dirtied white pants with the black helmet. Behind an account 0-1. Pitch on the way. Crank towards third. Throw to second in time for 1. Austin flips to first, doing the split stub lead. Double play. Orleans whipping around the horn, double play. Last inning, Whitey says we can do it too in the bottom of the frame. After 6, Orleans still held off the board after a 5-4-3 double play that Matt Hallback grounds into. It stays 5-0 Yarmouth-Dennis as we roll on here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Thanks so much for joining us. Ian Ecolisto and Pescatore on the call. It's been a one-sided affair for the second night in a row. YD picked up an 8-2 win against Orleans last night from Eldredge, tonight from Red Wilson. It's 5-0. Top of the order due up. Starts with R.J. Austin. Ryan Reeses back on the mound. He's pitched 1 1/3 scoreless so far. His first pitch bounced in the dirt in front of home plate and got by Owen Carpellotti. R.J. Austin, who's 2 for 3 on the game, gets ahead 1-0. Reeses deals. Misses up and in towards the letters of Austin. The right-handed Austin against the left-handed Reeses. 2-0.
At this point in the game, it just feels like everything the Firebirds are doing, YD has an answer for it.
Austin swings, pops one foul behind home plate. Owen Carpellotti, the helmet off, put the ball out of play. Drops right in front of him on the opposite side of the backstop. 2-1. Austin has had the answers tonight. Singled in the first, came around the score. An RBI double in the second. Lined out to the first baseman, Matt Hallback, on a check swing in the 4th inning. Just finished up a really good freshman season at Vanderbilt. A former top 60 recruit in the country, coming out of Pace Academy in Atlanta. The 2-1 is launched to left, down for Austin's 3rd hit of the game. Speeds up as he makes his way around first, but decides to settle for a single. His 2nd single on the game, and the 11th hit in 5 innings for YD.
Feels like deja vu every time I say it. Another leadoff man on for YD. It's 5th out of the 6 innings. It's insane. I can't believe it.
Hunter Hines has put up some unbelievable numbers this summer, and he's having a good night tonight. Drove in a run with a single in the first. First pitch swinging, sends one to shallow right center field. Eddie King racing, makes the catch right towards his chest with his left-handed glove. And the oh-so-dangerous Mississippi State Bulldog goes back to the dugout after only one pitch against Ryan Reeses.
Hines is getting onto the ball a lot. But with Hines, we talked about his little streak where he's gone a little bit cold. Other guys have picked it up. RJ Austin, the guy up at bat right now, is Darby. This lineup's starting to become a little bit more whole.
Braden Montgomery has come on as of late. He singled each of his last 2 times up. Comes up for his 4th time tonight. Reeses checks in on Austin. 4 for 7 on stolen base attempts this year is the Vanderbilt Commodore. Another check-in as Austin races back towards the bag, standing up, wearing the highlighter yellow, I don't know how you would say that, bright yellow arm sleeve on that right arm of Austin. 1 on, 2 out. Pitch upstairs, misses to Montgomery. 1 on, 1 away.
Ian, we spoke about how Hunter Hines was almost carrying this offense in the start of the season. Now it seems like 1 through 9, they're more built for a championship run.
Fouled away by Montgomery. 1-1. It's a YD team that hasn't won a championship in over half a decade, and an East Division that as of late's been dominated by Brewster, who's made it to each of the last 2 CCBL championships. But this year they've got the pitching, and if Hunter Hines can get back to early season Hunter Hines, they've got plenty of offense. The 1-1 misses in the dirt. Carpellotti keeps it in front of him. Austin stays at first. Ball 2 to Montgomery, who gets ahead.
When you look at the Hunter Hines situation, that's just a league that it's adapted to Hunter Hines. They've looked at the scouting report, what works, what doesn't, and then everyone picks up on it. Let's say, for example, I don't know, but the high fastball gets Hines a lot. The league knows, and they'll attack that.
Fouled away by Montgomery, 2-2. To start the year, Hines was hitting just under .330 with 6 homers and 21 ribbies in his first 15 games. Headed into today, in his last 17, he was hitting .172 with only 4 home runs. Still 15 runs driven in. He is an RBI machine. But the home runs and the average have gone down. The strikeouts have gone up. Tied for the league lead in strikeouts with Garrett Michelle of Bourne headed into the game. A lot of swing and miss on breaking balls in the dirt for Hines as of late. That seems to be the trend for him. Austin takes his lead off first, 1 out. 2-2, fired in for strike 3. Swing and a miss from Braden Montgomery, who goes down via the K for the 2nd time tonight. 2nd out of the inning.
Reeses' first strikeout of his outing. That was a long battle with Montgomery. It's never easy against one of the premier college baseball players in the world, in the country, anywhere. And he does so, a big out.
The former Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, an all-conference first-team selection in the spring with the Stanford Cardinal, currently in the transfer portal. Xander Darby, he's one of the best players in the best summer ball league in the country right now. He's driven in 2 runs tonight, both off singles, 1 in the first, 1 in the 4th. 2 for 3 overall. Reeses a miss upstairs, and Darby, the California native, gets ahead 1-0. Austin takes off for second. Carpellotti the throw, bounces in front of a plate, or rather the bag. Penny fielded it. No tag applied. RJ Austin with great speed in his 5th stolen base on the year. Ball 2 to Darby, who's ahead 2-0.
Another great display of speed from Austin as YD is manufacturing runners in scoring position. A stolen base, remember, runner Manny Garza tagged to second on a fly ball to left. They're finding ways.
Darby takes a strike, 2-1. YD has found its way this season to sit atop the East Division. Has struggled a little bit with Orleans, but not over these last 2 games. The Firebirds now in their last 5 games have been outscored by 23 runs, including this 5-0 deficit. The 2-1 misses low in the dirt, gloved by Carpellotti. 3-1. Rhesus has already handed out 2 walks, both of them last inning. Didn't come back to bite him, as he got 2 groundouts, including a big one of Dub Gleed, which turned into a double play for Orleans. Austin, a large lead off second after he stole the bag, being held on by shortstop Jack Penny. Time is called as Rhesus stares down the third base umpire, Carmen Parati. And that's actually going to be a pitch clock violation on Ryan Rhesus. Still having a conversation with Parati, the infield umpire. That's ball 4 to Xander Darby. As a result, he was already ahead in the count 3-1, and he takes first base. Runners on first and second, 2 out. Second night in a row that's happened to Orleans.
Yes, they were on the other side of it last night, and now this time they're on the bad side of it. Reese is just taking too much time.
Manny Garcia, the catcher, who's 1 for 3 tonight, singled in the third. The righty faces the lefty Rhesus, who now makes things a little bit more complicated. Austin on second. He singled and stole the bag. And on a 3-1 count, now both runners go. Carpellotti throws to third, trying to get out Austin. They get him and end the inning. The double steal does not come off to a successful end for YD. A frustrated RJ Austin heads back to the dugout after being thrown out by Owen Carpellotti at third base. Ryan Rhesus works through trouble, gets some help from a great throw from Owen Carpellotti, and the score stays 5-0 YD in front after 6 on the Birds Broadcast Network. Top of the 7th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Appreciate you tuning in. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call. Yarmouth-Dennis leads Orleans 5-0 from Red Wilson Field. And Dylan, a big reason why the starting pitcher tonight, Jason Doctorzik from Nevada, absolutely tore up the lineup. It was easily one of the best starts from an opposing pitcher Orleans has seen this summer.
100%. It kind of reminds me of Josh Bostic a few weeks back against Harwich. He got drafted for good reason. Doctorzik, who's eligible next, or not next year, but the year after, was really good tonight. The doc was doing surgery on the Firebirds lineup. 6 innings, 6 hits, no runs, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. And the surgery was a success.
It was. The pun's also a success. He's replaced by Boston Mabius, a left-handed pitcher from BYU, Brigham Young University in Utah. born and raised in Henderson, Nevada, where Doctorzik plays his collegiate baseball in Reno. For Orleans, it's 5, 6, and 7. In the order, it starts with Eddie Micheletti, the lefty, and this lefty-on-lefty duel takes a strike, 0-1.
Henderson, of course, a little bit south of Las Vegas. Reno's up towards Tahoe, North Nevada. Nice area, very gorgeous.
0-1 on the way. And for another strike now, 0-2. I really don't know when you became this West Coast expert. I don't understand it.
It's the girlfriend.
She's not from Nevada.
NorCal. Very close to Reno. About 3 hours away.
I'm sure it is. 5-0 YD, top 7. Here's the 0-2. Misses low. Micheletti takes a ball. Mabius for 6'2", 205-pound lefty. Just finished up his junior season with the Cougars. A 3.25 ERA and 23 appearances, all of them out of a bullpen. 49 strikeouts in just under 28 innings pitched. The 1-2. There's a strikeout. Eddie Micheletti Jr. with just an 11% strikeout rate on the summer, but he faces a strike thrower in Mabius. Nobody out. Now 1 out.
Strikeout number 8 for the Firebirds tonight after 7 from the dock and now 1 by Mabius. You can tell why he has those strikeout numbers. Comes from over the top from the left side, and his pitches just dip down.
Now it's another lefty, and Brandon Stallman, who launches one to right, and wow, what a catch! Dub Gleed from first, leaped, backhanded it with the left-handed glove, and snagged it out of thin air. To rob a base hit from Brandon Stallman. A great game gets even better for YD with an absolutely sensational play at first from Gleed. 2 away here with nobody on in the top of the 7th.
A line drive, really hard hit, and Stallman just straight up robbed. He's been hitting the ball really hard and just into the glove of Gleed. What a good defensive play.
Owen Carpellotti, the left-handed catcher's check swing, leaks in front of home plate. So the Georgetown Hoya goes behind 0-1. These strikeout numbers are no fluke for Mabius. Just under 90 Ks and a little less than 60 innings pitched across 3 collegiate seasons. His 0-1 is missed from Carp, who falls behind even farther, 0-2. Mabius a strike away from a 1-2-3 frame as Scott Pickler's call to the bullpen seems to be a wise one. Mabius making his summer ball debut here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. The 0-2 offering skips in the dirt, blocked up by the catcher Garza. Ball 1.
And it was a good move by Scott Pickler. He saw Boston Mabius. He hasn't pitched yet for YD this summer. Saw the lefty Eddie Micheletti, saw the lefty Stallman, and the lefty Carpellotti, and said, I'm going to put my lefty out there, get him a little bit of work, and he's been good.
The 1-2 pitch is launched over the head of Gleed and down for a hit along the right field line. Gleed leaped, but he's not Michael Jordan over there. Owen Carpellotti reaches with a single. It's the 7th hit of the night for Orleans, and the first for Owen Carpellotti.
Such an odd game, and kind of similar to last night where the hits weren't too far off between both teams, but the runs are. A 5-run game, although the hits 11-7, Firebirds trailing, but it's closer than the score might indicate.
Orleans with plenty of time to stage a comeback. No runs through 6 2/3, but 7 hits. Mabius deals and gets a whiff out of Eddie King Jr., the 8th man in the order, who's been good tonight. He's fallen behind 0-1 here, but he singled in the 2nd and doubled in the 5th. His 2nd extra base hit of his summer for the Chicago native. Mabius looks over at first, deals the 0-1, misses high, 1-1. For Mabius, it's his first year of summer ball since 2021 when he played in the Northwoods League for the then Green Bay Booyah, now known as the Green Bay Rockers. He was great there too, an ERA just over 3 in 12 appearances. The 1-1, check swing, did King go? Yes, he did. According to first base umpire Chris Scott, King falls behind in the count 1-2 with 2 outs and 1 runner on, Owen Carpellotti after his single to right. Retakes his lead, with his left hand clenched on his left hip. Mabius the 1-2. King pokes it out to right, but it's foul down the line. A good swing in search of his third hit to start this game. 5-0 YD in the top of the 7th inning. Orleans trying to avoid dropping below 500. Sitting at 17-17. 1-3 in its last 4. Maybe it's another 1-2. Breaking ball is launched through the hole and in the right for a base hit. Eddie King, what a game. A quiet night offensively overall for Orleans, but King 3 for 3. Back-to-back hits with 2 outs give Orleans some juice here in the top of the 7th.
A big hit for Eddie King, inside out. Gets the, almost like the knob of the bat in front of him. So he takes the inside pitch, the righty does to right field. R.J. Austin was playing toward the bag, so an open hole for Eddie King to use there, and he pokes it through it.
Orleans turns to the bench at the bottom of the order, trying to drive home some runs. Jake Casey out and Fenwick Trimble in. The rising junior from James Madison, a righty to face the lefty Mabius. Jake Casey, who he's pinch hitting for, a left-handed batter. Here's the pitch. Trimble, swing and a miss. 0-1.
The fastball from Mabius is his setup pitch, but the killer is the curveball. Over the top, diving into the dirt. He's got a lot of swing and miss so far tonight on that pitch.
Trimble on the season, exactly 100 at-bats, 22 hits for a .220 batting average. 2 homers, 11 runs driven in. Time called. And Mabius steps off the mound. It appears that Mabius has been hit with a pitch clock violation as well. So that's ball 1 to Fenwick Trimble. Evens the count 1-1 with Carpellotti off second, King off first, and 2 away. YD leads 5-0. The 1-1 popped up towards the right side of the field, racing Dub Gleed towards the Orleans dugout, and he makes the catch. Dub Gleed doing it all at first base. Fouling out towards first is Fenwick Trimble, the pinch hitter. Orleans leaves 2 stranded in the top of the 7th and stays scoreless after 6.5. It stays YD 5-0. We go to the bottom of the inning on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the 7th. Thanks so much for joining us. Me and Nicholas still in Pescatore on the call on a sunny night from Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth, where the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox lead the Orleans Firebirds 5-0. New pitcher in the game, Ryan Reese, is out. Another lefty in from Texas, Chase Loomis. He faces 5, 6, and 7 in the Red Sox order. It starts with the catcher, Manny Garza. 1 for 3 with a single into the 3rd inning. He takes the ball 1-0. It's been an up and down summer for Loomis. The Texas native, the 2nd highest ERA on the team, gave up 3 earned in 3 innings pitched in his last outing as he delivers a strike to Garza. That came in a 15-5 loss to Hyannis on Thursday. Allowed 4 hits and also walked 2 batters. Loomis deals. Misses upstairs. 2-1 in a count. Garza gets ahead.
And although Loomis allowed 3 runs in those 3 innings, his first 2 innings, he went 1, 2, 3 in each of them. He was really good. The 3rd inning bit him.
Check swing from Garza. Foul ball. 2-2.
Loomis was a guy who didn't go very long. He came out of the bullpen for Texas this year. Didn't pitch a lot of innings. But when he did, he came in for an outer here and there. And the Firebirds had to stretch him out in that Hyannis game because of how the score was going. The 3rd inning was the problem, and he kind of ran out of gas.
The 2-2 pitch. Poked. Foul. Rather back in fair play. Joe Oyama from second base. Leaks into the outfield. Makes the catch over his shoulder. And secures the flyout of Manny Garza. Retired for the 2nd time in a row.
Great job by Loomis there. He dipped down his arm angle to almost a 3/4 angle and gave Garza another look that he couldn't adjust to.
Casey Cook, the batter. He takes his strike. This lefty-on-lefty battle, 0-1. Bases empty, 1 out, 5-0 YD. Quickly 0-2. Loomis gets ahead. Headed into today an ERA of 11.8 for Loomis on the summer. 0-2 pitch is grounded towards short. Jack Penny fires the first. Matt Hallback gets low and scoops it with the left-handed glove for the 2nd out of the inning.
Good play by Penny. His 2nd time straight starting at shortstop. With how great Stallman's been with the bat, you know, your bat's going to find a way to get you in the lineup, and that's what's happened with Brandon Stallman. He's been hitting well, and with that, he's going to be at 3rd base, going to be DHing. He's going to find his way in.
Dub Glee takes the ball. The righty 0 for 3 with 2 flyouts and a ground out into a double play in the 5th. Jack Penny, his 3rd start on the summer overall at short, as a 1-0 pitch is popped up right field side. Calling off everybody is Matt Hallback. He makes the catch right in front of Joe Oyama on the edge of the infield dirt. Chase Loomis looking a lot like the pitcher that he was in the first 2 innings of that Thursday outing against Hyannis. He goes 1, 2, 3, gets a lot of weak contact, keeps the score 5-0 YD over Orleans as we go to the top of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Orleans looking for a spark offensively. No better than a place to turn to than the top of the order. Joe Oyama, the leadoff man, playing second for the 28th night in a row, starting for the Firebirds. Still looking for a hit. Brandon Mabius on the mound for his second inning of work. Gave up a couple hits in the 7th, but got out unscathed. Delivers the first pitch strike to Joe Oyama, 0-1. Lefty on lefty, Mabius against Oyama, who rests the bat over his left shoulder and now waves it towards the backside of his head. The 0-1 pitch misses high. 1-1. Oyama struck out in the first and is flown out to both corners of the outfield, to right in the third, to left in the fifth. Oyama has not gone without hits in back-to-back nights since mid-June. The 1-1, low, 2-1.
Oyama, who hit the ball really hard last time, up to left. But right there was Casey Cook. A lot of hard hit balls from the Firebirds are finding gloves.
The 2-1 offering fouled away into the parking lot from the Dennis Yarmouth School. 2-2 as Oyama takes off the helmet for a moment, puts it back on. It's been a hot one here from Red Wilson Field. 79 and sunny, a beautiful day for baseball, a packed crowd for the Red Sox faithful. 5-0 YD top 8. The 2-2 poked high in the air to center field, dropping right into the glove of Kling for the first out of the 8th inning.
The inning that the Firebirds offense really got going was the second, loading the bases with 2 outs. And even then, 1 for 8 the Firebirds are with runners in scoring position. And that hit didn't even bring in a run. It was first and second. Eddie King singled, but it was too shallow to bring in the runner, Eddie Micheletti.
Bases empty, 1 out. Headed into tonight, Orleans had stranded 8 base runners in 4 straight games. It's been a little bit of the same tonight as Justin Rubin, the righty, gets behind on a count 0-1. With the bases clear and 1 away. Check swing. Checking towards first. Rubin held up, according to Chris Scott, and works the count even. Wearing the white arm sleeve on his right arm. The white, blue, and orange batting gloves representing his former school of Virginia. The 1-1, waved through and missed. 1-2, Rubin goes behind.
Maybe this is truly nasty. He's getting a lot of check swings from the Firebirds where they're not even sure if they want to swing or not. That's how just tantalizing his pitches are.
Maybe his 25 pitches, 18 of them for strikes. He's recorded 4 outs. The 1-2 popped up out of play towards the right field side. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Justin Rubin in danger of losing a great streak to start the season. He's reached in all of his 13 games as a Firebird, but he's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a ground out. Another 1-2. Misses low. Good eye from Rubin to even the count. This game started with a dominant start from Jackson Doctorzik, who delivered 7 strikeouts in 6 innings of work, including 3 in the first inning and an immaculate inning. The 2-2 popped up left center field, moving towards his left, settling in, making the catch towards his shoulder is Casey Cook. 2 outs this inning, both via the flyout. 5th out recorded for Mabius in his 2 innings of work.
And, you know, I'd love to see the numbers because we love to talk, and the league loves to talk about how short the dimensions are here at Red Wilson Field. But I think the dimensions get into the players' heads. And I think that, you know, they want to lift the ball, they want to get it out of here, and it can get in their heads and change their swing path.
Here's Jack Penny, the lefty, to face the lefty Mabius. He takes the ball 1-0, a low miss. Well, lucky for you, I have the Orleans Firebirds yearbook. And according to the yearbook, Red Wilson Field, that is, 352 in center, 346 in left, 338 in right.
Still no home runs tonight.
The 1-0, miss from Penny. 1-1. It's New Orleans offense that hasn't necessarily relied on the long ball this season. Tied for 6th in the league headed into the game with 20 home runs. Bases cleared, 2 out, 5-0 YD, top 8. Maybe it's the 1-1. Another miss, high in the zone. Penny can't track it down. He goes behind 1 and 2. Singled his last time up in the 6th, 1 for 3 on the game, is a Wakefield, Mass native. Heading into his junior season at Notre Dame, where he hit just over 240 in a spring that was plagued by dislocated shoulder injury. The 1-2, fouled off.
You have the wind blowing out. You have short dimensions, and I think that can get in some players' heads where they just want to hit a home run so badly and think this is the opportunity. Look at YD tonight, 11 hits, none of them out of the ballpark, and they put up 5 runs.
And a team at 2nd most home runs in the league, and they benefit from playing here, of course. Another 1-2, another foul ball straight towards the lower portion of the backstop. Jack Penny continues to fight like he has all summer long. On Saturday, the starter for the East Division team in the All-Star game at third base, slotting in at shortstop for the 2nd night in a row. He's got 2 home runs on the summer, including one here from Red Wilson Field, which he drove over the right field wall with 2 outs. The 1-2 gets Penny in the upper back, hit by pitch. And that's how he reaches for the 2nd straight time. Similar to last inning, maybe he's recorded 2 quick outs with a strikeout and a line out. But then Orleans did some damage with back-to-back hits from Owen Carpellotti and Eddie King. Couldn't turn anything of it. Can Orleans make something happen down 5-0 in the top of the 8th with a 2-out rally? Matt Hall back at the plate. He's 1 for 3. Righty on lefty. Maybe he lets it fly. Swing and a miss. 0-1.
First free pass given up by the YD pitching staff. No walks, and now 1 hit by pitch.
Is an Orleans team that has walked the least this summer, averaging just over 4 walks a game. The 0-1. Fouled off towards left. It dribbles past the far side of a YD dugout. Hall back quickly down 0-2. Singled in the 2nd, popped out to short in the 4th, grounded into a 5-4-3 double play to end the 6th inning. Another Cape League All-Star. An All-Star in the West Coast League last summer. The 0-2. Misses high. Hallback takes for ball 1. Still behind an account. Jack Penny on first after he was hit by a pitch. 2 outs. 5-0 YD. Top 8. Orleans 8 hits on the game. Still in search of its first score. Maybe it's the 1-2. Chopped past his head. Charging it short is Jackson in the grass. He throws to first. Makes the play. Ends the inning. Maybe it's plunks Jack Penny, but it turns into nothing for the Firebirds, who put some more base runners on, but can't work anything against the starting pitching or the bullpen pitching for YD. It stays 5-0 Red Sox over the Firebirds. We go to the bottom of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. It stays 5-0 YD. That's been the same score since the end of the 4th inning. Chase Loomis trying to keep it that way for the Firebirds, back for his 2nd inning of work here in the bottom of the 8th. The Texas product faces 8-9-1 in the order. It starts with Paxton Kling. The righty gets ahead 1-0 on the left-handed hurler, who deals and lands one on the inside half of the plate for a strike to even the count 1-1. Runs in each of the first 4 innings for YD, including 2 in the 4th. Orleans and the bullpen have kept it where it's at. Swing and a miss from Kling. Over top of it, he falls behind 1-2. On the game, he's 1 for 2 with a single, and he also walked his last time up in the 5th inning. Loomis working quickly. The 1-2 offering. Skips in the dirt and whistles past Carpellotti for ball 2.
I think that could definitely be a positive for the Firebirds going into tomorrow. How good the bullpen's been. That has not been a consistent thing you can say in the past week.
Ryan Reese's 2 1/3 scoreless innings as Kling fouls a pitch off himself to keep the count 2-2 as he leads off in the bottom of the 8th. Ryan Reese's from UC San Diego with 2 1/3 scoreless innings. Did hand out 3 walks, but worked through some traffic. Now Chase Loomis, who went 1-2-3 in the 7th, trying to do the same here in the 8th. Another 2-2. Low and in. Ball 3 to Kling. Coming off a really productive freshman season at LSU. Only got 90 at-bats for the national champions, but hit 290, slugged 522. Takes ball 4. Loomis misses high. The first base runner against the Godly Texas native reaches with a leadoff walk from Paxton Kling in the bottom of the 8th.
Next up, out of USC, number 6.
Well, free pass for the Firebirds pitching staff that has done it a few times tonight. That's 5 walks compared to YD, who's only allowed 1 hit by pitch, no walks.
Ryan Jackson, the bottom man in the order, has not been walked, nor has he been plunked. The righty takes his strike, goes behind 0-1. Singled in the 2nd, laid down a sac bunt in the 4th. Grounded out to the pitcher, Ryan Reeses, in the 5th. 1 on, nobody out, 5-0 YD. The 0-1 misses upstairs, 1-1. Firebirds trying to avoid dipping below 500. Currently 17-17. Ranked as the 2nd best team in the league according to the latest Cape Cod Baseball League power rankings. Ahead of YD, who is ranked 5th. Now in danger of dropping to 2-3 on the year against the Red Sox. Loomis checked in on Kling with a pickoff attempt. He's 1 for 2 on stolen bases this summer. The 1-1 on the inner half of the plate, first strike, according to home plate umpire Will Bowers. Jackson goes behind 1-2. A USC Trojan. No more USC Trojans on the Firebirds. Did have Austin Overton and Johnny Olmstead to start the year. Overton left for Team USA and Cary, North Carolina. Johnny Olmstead left for the show, drafted by the Miami Marlins. Another check-in on Kling, who's held on by Matt Hallback at first. The 1-2 pitch, Kling on the move, ball in the dirt. Carpellotti the throw, it's high. Oyama leaps to the right of second base, and he can't apply a tag. 2nd stolen base on the year for Kling, who moves up in the scoring position as that was ball 2 to Ryan Jackson.
2nd stolen base for YD tonight as well. They're 2 for 3.
RJ Austin was the 1 for 2 part of that equation. The 2-2 pitch misses low and in. A full count to Jackson. Austin stole a base and then was caught stealing as well. Trying to take 3rd. 5 for 8 on the summer overall. Loomis the payoff. Popped in the air in a right center field. Both Eddie King and Fenwick Trimble in search of the ball. It's caught by King for the first out of the inning. Fenwick Trimble has taken over in right field since pitch hitting for Jake Casey. 1 on, 1 out. Runner on 2nd is Kling. And speaking of pitch hitters, Garrett Ostrander from Cal Baptist, another righty to face the left-handed Chase Loomis. With 1 out, in the bottom of the 8th inning. YD trying to spread the wealth for an offense that's already scored 5 runs today, none since the 4th inning, and racked up 11 hits. Loomis leans down in search of his signs from Carpellotti. Kicks and deals. Ostrander takes the ball upstairs, 1-0.
Ostrander came in as a pinch runner. Or I'm sorry, came as a pinch hitter yesterday. Late in the game, a walk, and came around to score.
Had a really productive junior season at Cal Baptist. 1-1. Loomis lands a strike on the upper third. Just joined YD. He was on the WAC all-defensive team in the spring. Started 53 games. Drove in 24 runs off 72 hits. The 1-1 is missed. The pitch dropping low with the bat of Ostrander for strike 2. He was perfect, near perfect in the field. Made a single error and left all season long. Ended with a fielding percentage of .991. A ball and 2 strikes, a runner on second. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. The pinch hitter, Garrett Ostrander, goes down for out number 2 of the inning. And strikeout number 1 on the game for Chase Loomis.
What's so interesting for Orleans is that as their pitching has turned over, a lot of arms have left. The strikeout numbers have gone down. If you look at the last few games, I mean, it's been evident. Tonight's another game just like that. Only 4 strikeouts for the Orleans pitching staff compared to 8 by the YD Red Sox. It makes it so much easier when you have strikeout stuff.
Loomis looking for one more out. Strikeout or not against another pinch hitter and Connor Dykstra from George Mason. Another righty to face the left-handed Loomis. He takes his strike 0-1. Ostrander was pinch hitting for R.J. Austin, the leadoff man and second baseman. Dykstra pinch hitting for the DH and another all-star, Hunter Hines. The 0-1, breaking ball misses upstairs, and the count even. Runner on second is Paxton Kling, who walked and stole a bag. YD, it's been a dominant day after an 8-2 win yesterday from Eldredge for the Red Sox over the Firebirds. A 5-0 lead in the bottom of the 8th. The 6'1", 225-pound righty looks. The runner takes off for third. The throw from Carpellotti in foul territory. Backhanded by Stallman. He couldn't apply a tag. Kling has worked his way around the horn as he flips his blonde hair back behind his forehead and puts the helmet back on. Walked, still second, still third, and is 90 feet away from scoring the 6th run of the day. The 2-1, missed from Dykstra, 2-2.
Dykstra, the teammate of Connor Eaton, actually comes from British Columbia. He's going to be heading back there in just a couple days. Connor spoke glowingly of his teammate over at George Mason.
The 2-2, check swing from Dykstra. Did he do? Yes, he did. Back-to-back strikeouts for not Connor Eaton. You got Connor Eaton on my mind. For Chase Loomis, as he retires 2 pinch hitters via the K in Ostrander and Dykstra. It stays a 5-0 game. Orleans needs a lot in the top of the 9th inning. Could it happen? You'll have to tune in to find out right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network for the top of the ninth on a beautiful night from Red Wilson Field. Due up for Orleans is 5, 6, and 7. Boston Mabius from BYU returns to the mound for his third inning of work. Micheletti, first pitch swinging, fouls it off to the left side of field and out of play. 0-1. Mabius looking for the save. And Orleans trying to avoid being shut out for the third time this summer, despite having 8 hits on the game. Eddie Micheletti with one of them back in the 4th inning. Struck out the last time up in the 7th against Mabius. The 0-1 on the way. Misses upstairs for a ball.
Not too often you get almost 10 hits with 8 already on the game in 8 innings. And end up with a loss most likely, but not often you get 8 hits and don't even score a run. A rarity.
The 1-1 is laser to right and down for a hit. Eddie Micheletti, his second knock of the game. 9th hit overall for Orleans. A leadoff single.
Well, that's a good start and a good swing by Micheletti. Pulls it to right, gets it down in front of the right fielder, Montgomery. Another line drive for Micheletti is done that all summer long.
Couple defensive changes after the pinch hitters. For YD, Ostrander now at second base. The only defensive change as he pinch hit for the previous second baseman, R.J. Austin. Brandon Stallman, first pitch swinging, gets it through the hole and in the right. Not a ton of power, but he didn't need it. Back-to-back singles for Orleans, who now has double-digit hits on the game. Still in search of its first run, down 5-0. In the top of the 9th, a pinch hitter comes up to the plate. The lefty, Owen Carpellotti, replaced by the righty in Colin Tuft. Just finished up his sophomore season at Virginia, transferring to Tulane next year. Originally by way of Vienna, Virginia, in the DMV area. Orleans, a great opportunity. Down 5-0, top 9. After back-to-back singles to right from Eddie Micheletti on second and Brandon Stallman on first. 4th multi-hit game for Stallman in only 7 games as a Firebird.
He's been outstanding. For a position player group that's been really good this year, he's come in and found his way.
Ball is lost by Garza. He spins around after the pitch delivered by Mabius for a ball. Kept it in front of him, though. So Micheletti and Stallman, neither of which have a stolen base on the year, stay at first and second. Colin Tuft ahead 1-0. Waves the wand high above his right shoulder. Mabius has now allowed 4 hits in 2 innings. His 1-0 pitch misses low. 2-0. It's going
to be a big opportunity for the Firebirds, but Tuft has to be patient here. Don't chase against a guy with really nasty stuff.
Tuft trying to limit the strikeout numbers. Over a 30% strikeout rate so far this summer, although he's played some unbelievable defense, both in the outfield and he's done a little catching as well. 2 on, nobody out. Here's the 2-0. Fouled away, high to the backstop. 2-1.
Colin Tuft had a really good swing yesterday. Just unlucky that it was to center field. A 377-foot fly out back at Eldredge, which here would clear the fence by upwards of 30 feet.
350 in center, 340 in left, 320 in right from Red Wilson Field, but no home runs today, despite 21 hits combined. YD leads 5-0, top 9. 2 balls and a strike on the way. Foul ball, 2-2. Micheletti on second, Stallman on first, after back-to-back singles to lead off this inning. Tuft stares down the bat, steps back in.
Maybe he's doing a great job of getting back into a count after falling behind.
46 pitches for him in 2 innings. 32 for strikes in his Cape Cod Baseball League debut. The 2-2. Swung through and missed. Mabius needed that strikeout. His second in 2 1/3. First out of the inning in the 9th with 2 runners on for Orleans, who trails 5-0.
A frustrating night with runners in scoring position continues for Orleans.
Eddie King, he's had a great night. 3 for 3 with a double as well, his first of his summer in the 5th inning. Can the right-handed outfielder stay hot with 2 runners on and 1 out? Takes a pitch up and in for a ball, 1-0.
If anything, just to get the donut off the board would be big for Orleans with momentum heading into tomorrow. Tomorrow's home against Wareham.
A 6:30 start from Eldredge Park will be live at 6:15 right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. 2 on, 1 out, 5-0 YD. The 1-0 offering. Inside for a strike. Now even 1-1 to Eddie King. His first 3-hit game of the summer. He's been with Orleans since the beginning after dominating last year in the Futures League. 2 on, 1 out. 10 hits for the Birds, trying to get that donut off the board, like you alluded to. The 1-1 pitch. Another strike on the upper half of the plate. King goes behind 1-2.
So weird seeing 10 hits in the hit column, but no runs just yet.
Only 2 runs yesterday in the loss to YD, and an 8-2 loss. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Boston Mabius. 3 on the game. He's 1 out away from picking up a 9-out save. Comes down to the bat of Fenwick Trimble. His second AB of the game since pinch hitting for Jake Casey in the 7th. He fouled out to the first base side. A snag for Dub Gleed in front of the Orleans dugout. Ended his at bat. Micheletti on second, Stallman on first, both of them singled. First pitch swinging, foul ball to the backstop, 0-1. Orleans with a loss would drop to 17-18 on the summer and drop its 4th game in its last 5. YD, meanwhile, would continue to stretch its lead atop the East Division and pick up its 42nd and 43rd points of the year to extend its lead to 4.5 games atop the East ahead of Orleans. No balls and a strike. Here's the pitch. Trimble, another whiff. 0-2. Boston Mabius, the pitcher from BYU in his Cape League debut. 8 outs down, 1 out to go. Micheletti off second, Stallman off first. YD leads 5-0. Scored all of its runs in the first 4 innings of the game. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Boston Mabius strikes out the side in the 9th inning. Boston, in his Massachusetts debut, delivers the deal. YD over Orleans for the 2nd night in a row. Red Sox win 5-0 over the Birds.
A 1-hit difference between YD and Orleans, but that 9th inning encapsulates what the last 5 games have been for the Firebirds. You have runners on, and you can't drive them in once again. First and second, and a runner doesn't even move off their bases. You don't move them over, you don't get them in. 3 straight strikeouts. And a similarity between last night and tonight. 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position last night. Make that a 1 for 11 again today.
Orleans has left at least 8 base runners stranded in each of the last 5 games. A lot of great opportunities tonight. Double-digit hits from both teams. But YD comes out on top, 5-0. And as we start cooling down here, Dylan, we'll keep it brief after another tough loss for the Firebirds here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Overall, in those big moments, what do you think Orleans is missing out on the most?
I think they're missing out on bat-to-ball skills, and whoever it may be up, it could be one of their best hitters in Joe Oyama or Jack Penny or guys who are really coming up like Eddie King or Jake Casey. Whoever's in that situation, for some reason, continue to get into 2-strike counts, and they go fishing. It's very similar to the start of the season where the Firebirds were not having good at-bats, and with bases loaded, with 2 on, with second and third, with whatever, it's not working right now for Orleans, where they're getting a little bit too stressed in those situations, and they're making bad swing decisions.
Meanwhile, looking at the pitching side of things for the Firebirds, an up and down start for Ivan Romero in his 3rd start of his summer. What did you take away from that? And also the bullpen, who didn't give up a single run over the final 5 innings of the game.
I think the bullpen was great, and I think that's a huge bright spot to this game. You got to take positives out of every game, and maybe there might not be a lot out of a 5-0 loss where you truly do not hit well with runners in scoring position. But you got to think of positives. I think Ryan Reeses was really good tonight. I think he could have a big, spot in this bullpen as the season winds down. Chase Loomis was great again tonight. For Loomis now, out of the last 5 innings pitched, one has been a stinker, and it was his 3rd inning in a game where he had to continue to eat outs because of how the bullpen was being used. I think he has a lot of potential in this bullpen as well. That's a positive that I take out. Ivan Romero didn't have his best stuff, and YD was on him early, just like they were last night. But you have to flush these 2 games. You have to finish them out and say, all right, new slate back at home tomorrow, facing a Wareham team that, frankly, you haven't played that well against, even though everyone has played well against Wareham this year.
Wareham sits in the cellar of the West Division Orleans, although dropping below 500 to 17-18 on the year, still sits at 2nd in the East.
And Wareham has a doubleheader today against Bourne, so looking forward to tomorrow. Wareham's pitching staff is going to be pretty desolated. They're going to use a lot of pitchers. It is a 7-inning doubleheader. 14 innings of baseball is a lot more than 9 when we're talking math, when we're talking pitching usage. But you got to look and say, all right, we have the advantage. How can the Firebirds take advantage tomorrow? And I don't want to look forward to our keys of the game and give them away, but I think scoring first will be big.
Scoring first against the pitching staff, which has struggled against Orleans this year, and has struggled, quite frankly, against the rest of the league in Wareham. Going to be a fun matchup. Hopefully Orleans can bounce back after losses in 4 of its last 5 games. Again, that game at 6:30 tomorrow night from Eldredge Park. Orleans and Wareham going at it. We'll start at 6:15 on the Birds Broadcast Network. We'd appreciate it if you dropped a like and subscribed to our YouTube channel. We'll sign off from Red Wilson Field after the 5-0 loss for Orleans against YD. For Dylan, our sideline reporter Sammy Miller, our producer Will Lundrigan, and everybody else involved with the Firebirds media team, Ian Nicholas saying good night. Orleans drops a game to YD for the 2nd night in a row, 5-0, the final score from Red Wilson.